You are not controlled by your past. You are not your trauma, and your happiness does not depend on others. What if everything you believed about yourself, your limitations, your insecurities, your fears, was just a story you've been told? What if you've been carrying the weight of your past, thinking it defines your future, when in truth, it doesn't? This is the courage to be disliked, a radical, perspective-shifting conversation that challenges how we see ourselves, our relationships, and our purpose. In a world obsessed with approval, this book invites us to live with freedom. It says you don't need to be accepted by others to accept yourself. That courage to live true to your values, your choices, your life, is what separates a life of quiet frustration from a life of authentic joy. If you've ever felt stuck in a version of yourself that doesn't feel fully alive, this book might just be the turning point you've been looking for. Welcome to Book Play, where we turn powerful books into powerful life changes. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you never miss a life-changing lesson from the books that can transform your mindset. Let's begin the journey with William, a young man, caught in the quiet war between pleasing others and becoming himself. William is 28 years old and works as a junior doctor in a busy city hospital. To most people, his life appears to be a success story. He wears the white coat that commands respect, moves through the hospital corridors with quiet confidence, and handles a demanding workload that few could manage. His family beams with pride, friends admire his dedication, and colleagues trust his judgment. But beneath the surface, William feels disconnected, lost in a role he never fully chose for himself. He didn't pursue medicine out of passion or personal desire. It was the path that was expected of him, the safe, respectable choice that brought approval from his family and community. Throughout his childhood and teenage years, he was told that medicine was a noble career, one that would secure his future and earn the admiration of those around him. And so, he followed the path laid out, working hard and meeting every expectation. But now, years into his medical training, William feels like a stranger to himself. His days are long and exhausting. He moves through a blur of patient charts, diagnoses, and life or death decisions. He comforts others even when his own spirit feels broken. Yet despite the gravity of his work, he often feels invisible, disconnected from his own identity and desires. Every word he speaks is measured. Every emotion is carefully hidden. He has learned to suppress his doubts, to swallow his fears, and to avoid conflict at all costs. He often wonders if anyone would notice if he disappeared or stopped trying. What weighs on him most is not the difficulty of his work, but the unrelenting pressure to perform, to please, and to never disappoint. William fears failure, not just in his duties, but in the eyes of others. The idea of being disliked or rejected terrifies him more than anything. At night, when the hospital is quiet and he finally has a moment to himself, his mind races. He replays conversations and decisions, agonizing over what he said or failed to say. He questions his worth and wonders who he really is beneath the white coat and stethoscope. William has read books on productivity, time management, and even mindfulness. He's tried meditation and exercise, hoping for relief. But none of these solutions touch the root of his unease. He's been seeking answers to a question he hasn't fully named. Who am I when I stop trying to be what others want me to be? One evening, after a particularly draining day, William scrolls through his phone. A headline jumps out at him. The courage to be disliked. The phrase strikes a chord deep inside him. Disliked? Could it be possible, acceptable even, to live without needing everyone's approval? Could true freedom lie in embracing himself, even if it meant risking rejection? Driven by a sudden impulse, William orders the book. When it arrives, it rests quietly on his bedside table for days. He hesitates, uncertain if he's ready to confront the truths it might reveal. But then, on a rare peaceful Sunday morning, William opens the book. Unlike the other self-help books he's devoured, this one isn't a list of rules or quick fixes. It's a dialogue, a philosophical conversation between a young man and a wise philosopher about happiness, freedom, and the courage to live authentically. As he reads, something inside him shifts, not in a dramatic epiphany, but a gentle stirring of hope. For the first time in years, William imagines that his past does not have to define his future, that the weight of others' expectations can be lifted, that he might find a way to live honestly, without fear of judgment. He doesn't yet know where this journey will take him, but in that quiet moment he feels ready to listen, ready to question the stories he's told himself, ready to face the discomfort that comes with change. William's journey has just begun. He's cautious but hopeful, and he understands that the courage to be disliked is not about confrontation or rebellion. It's about the freedom to be himself. This book will challenge everything he thought he knew about happiness, identity, and relationships, and it will invite him to step into a new life, one where he can be truly free. The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga is a remarkable book that challenges many common ideas about happiness, success, and the way we see ourselves. Instead of offering quick solutions or generic advice, it presents a thoughtful dialogue between a philosopher and a young man. Together, they explore how we can live a freer, more fulfilling life by embracing a bold and often misunderstood idea: the courage to be disliked. At its core, the book argues that most people's unhappiness comes from living to meet others' expectations, whether family, friends, or society. It suggests that many of the limits we experience are not the result of past experiences or external circumstances, but stem from how much we seek approval and avoid rejection. Drawing from Adlerian psychology, the authors present a philosophy focused on individual freedom and responsibility. Alfred Adler, a pioneering psychologist, believed that the key to happiness lies in our relationships and how we connect with others, not in competing or comparing ourselves. His approach emphasizes that we have control over how we interpret and respond to life's challenges. One of the book's central messages is that happiness is a choice we make every day. It is not something that happens by chance or that depends on external validation. Instead, it comes from living authentically and accepting ourselves, even if that means not everyone will like us. This idea, that being disliked is sometimes necessary for true freedom, is both liberating and challenging. It asks us to reconsider how we define success and self-worth. It encourages us to step away from the need for constant approval and to find peace in being who we are. For William, this book offers a powerful new perspective. It invites him and all of us to see that the past does not determine the future, and that it's possible to change the stories we tell ourselves. It encourages embracing the discomfort of being different or misunderstood as a path toward genuine confidence and happiness. The book also addresses the common human desire to belong and be accepted, but it teaches that true belonging comes from contributing to others and finding meaning in life rather than simply fitting in. As we explore the lessons William learns, you will discover how these ideas can be applied in your own life. Each lesson builds on the last, guiding us to release limiting beliefs, overcome fear, and take responsibility for our own happiness. The Courage to be Disliked is not just a book. It's an invitation to live courageously, with honesty and purpose. It asks a simple but profound question: are you ready to live a life that is truly yours? Lesson number 1. Problems come from our relationships. The first important lesson William learns is both simple and profound. Most problems in life come from how we relate to others. When William first began reflecting on his struggles, his anxiety, self-doubt, and feelings of failure, he believed they were caused by his personal flaws or mistakes from the past. He thought these problems lived inside him alone, like invisible weights dragging him down. But The Courage to be Disliked offers a fresh and surprising perspective. It shows that many of our difficulties are not isolated within ourselves, but arise from the way we interact with other people. William starts to notice how much time and energy he spends worrying about what others think of him. Whether at work, among friends, or with his family, he constantly tries to meet their expectations. He changes how he behaves depending on what he believes others want. This constant desire for acceptance and approval drains him. It makes him feel trapped and disconnected from who he really is. The book explains a crucial idea. When we base our sense of self-worth on the opinions of others, we lose our freedom. We become prisoners of their judgments and fears of rejection. William realizes that many of his stresses and frustrations come from this invisible chain, the need to be liked by everyone. This insight brings a mix of emotions. There is discomfort in recognizing how much he depends on others for his happiness, but there is also hope, because it means change is possible. If his problems come from relationships, then by changing how he relates to others, he can transform his life. It's important to understand that this lesson is not about blaming others or avoiding connections. Instead, it teaches us to become aware of the impact that our relationships have on our well-being. It shows that by improving these connections and reducing the need for constant approval, we can find greater peace and confidence. For you, this lesson invites reflection. Ask yourself, are my struggles really just about me? Or do they also involve how I relate to the people around me? This simple question can open a new door to understanding yourself and your challenges. A practical way to begin applying this lesson is to observe moments when you try to please others at the expense of your own feelings or values. Notice when you hide your true thoughts or avoid honest conversations because you fear judgment or rejection. Becoming aware of these patterns is the first step toward freeing yourself from the pressure to be liked by everyone. William begins to realize that while he cannot control what others think, he can control how he chooses to respond. This is where his true freedom begins. Remember, it is impossible to control how others think or feel about you. Trying to do so will only cause frustration and unhappiness. Instead, focus on building genuine, honest relationships based on mutual respect, where you can be yourself without fear. In summary, William learns that most personal problems stem from our relationships with others. Accepting this gives him a new perspective and a clear path forward, not by trying to fix himself alone, but by changing how he connects with the world. This realization naturally leads William to ask the next important question. How can I clearly separate what is my responsibility from what belongs to others? This will be the focus of the next lesson. Lesson number 2. Only handle what is your responsibility. After learning that many problems come from relationships, William faces a new and important question. How do I know what I am responsible for and what belongs to others? This second lesson teaches William about the importance of clearly separating his tasks from the tasks of other people. It may sound simple, but putting it into practice is a challenge. The book explains that much of our stress and conflict comes from taking responsibility for things that are not ours or avoiding what truly belongs to us. William begins to see how often he has tried to control what others think or feel. Whether it is a colleague's opinion about his work, a friend's reaction to his choices, or a family member's expectations, he realizes that trying to manage these tasks causes him anxiety and frustration. At the same time, William notices he has avoided taking full responsibility for his own life, avoiding difficult decisions or personal growth. This imbalance, taking on others' tasks while neglecting his own, keeps him stuck and unhappy. The book introduces the idea of task separation. This means understanding clearly which responsibilities belong to you and which belong to others. For example, how others judge you is their task, not yours. How you choose to act is your task. This lesson gives William a new way to protect his emotional energy. By focusing on his own tasks, he begins to feel less burdened and more in control. He no longer feels the need to seek approval or manage others' feelings, freeing himself from exhausting efforts to please everyone. For you, This means reflecting on your daily interactions. When you feel pressure or stress, ask, "Is this my task or someone else's?" Learning to say, "That is not my responsibility," is an important step toward emotional freedom. At first, William finds this difficult. Saying no or stepping back feels uncomfortable. He worries about being seen as selfish or uncaring. But the book reminds him that healthy relationships require boundaries. Only when everyone takes responsibility for their own tasks can relationships be balanced and respectful. William also learns that respect is not about controlling others or seeking approval. It is about honoring each person's freedom and responsibility. By focusing on his own life, he can live more authentically and with confidence. In summary, William learns that only handling what is your responsibility is essential for emotional freedom. Taking charge of your own life and letting go of what belongs to others opens the door to real peace and growth. This understanding leads William to his next question. If I am responsible for my own life, how do I find the courage to be true to myself, even if it means being disliked? That will be the next lesson. Lesson number 3. Be brave enough to be disliked. As William moves forward, he is confronted with a powerful and often uncomfortable idea. If you want to live authentically, you must be brave enough to be disliked. For most of his life, William has sought approval from others. Whether it's his boss, friends, or family, he has molded his behavior to gain acceptance. He believes that fitting in and being liked will bring him happiness and peace. But the courage to be disliked challenges this belief in a bold way. It teaches that true freedom comes from the courage to live your life according to your own values, no matter who approves or disapproves. At first, William feels resistance to this idea. He worries that if he starts to reject the need for approval, he will become isolated or unloved. What if his friends or colleagues think he's selfish or arrogant? What if he pushes people away by being honest and true to himself? But the book makes it clear. Being liked is not the key to happiness. It's the fear of being disliked that keeps us trapped, pretending to be someone we're not and avoiding true connections. When we constantly seek approval, we are not living authentically. We're living for others, and in the process, we lose touch with who we really are. This lesson challenges William to take a hard look at the parts of his life where he's been afraid to speak up or act in a way that might not be popular. He realizes that every time he avoids conflict or keeps quiet to avoid judgment, he's betraying his true self. He's not living in alignment with his own beliefs or values. The key idea here is freedom through authenticity. The book explains that real freedom comes from not needing to be liked. When we stop trying to please everyone, we can finally be ourselves. We can pursue our own goals, express our own opinions, and live our lives on our terms without worrying about the judgment of others. For you, this lesson asks a hard but valuable question. Are you living for yourself, or are you living for the approval of others? It's not an easy question, but it's essential for growth. The fear of rejection is powerful, but it's also the key to the next level of personal freedom. A practical way to apply this lesson is to start identifying where you are holding back because of the fear of being disliked. Is there something you've been avoiding saying because you're worried about others' reactions? Or maybe you've been staying in a situation that doesn't align with your values just to keep the peace? Confronting these fears little by little will allow you to live more authentically. William also learns that being disliked is not the same as being rejected. Sometimes, when you live authentically, people may not agree with you, but that doesn't mean they don't respect you. True relationships, those built on trust and mutual respect, will thrive even when there are differences. In summary, William learns that the courage to be disliked is essential for living an authentic life. When you stop seeking the approval of others, you free yourself to pursue your own happiness and live according to your own values. This bravery opens the door to deeper, more genuine relationships. This lesson leads William to the next big question. If I am no longer afraid of others' judgment, how can I begin to live in the present and embrace each moment fully? That will be the next lesson. Lesson number 4, live in the present moment. Having learned the importance of authenticity and being willing to be disliked, William now faces an even deeper challenge, living in the present moment. For years, William has lived in the past and the future, worrying about mistakes he made or obsessing over what might happen next. He has spent so much time in his head, revisiting old regrets and anxieties about the future, that he has forgotten how to fully experience the present. As a result, he's felt disconnected from life, as though it's always just out of his reach. The courage to be disliked teaches William that happiness exists in the present moment, not in the past, where you can't change anything, nor in the future, which is uncertain. True freedom and peace can only be found by living in the here and now. By being fully present, we experience life as it truly is, without the distractions of past guilt or future anxiety. At first, William is skeptical. How can he simply live in the moment, when there are so many responsibilities, challenges, and uncertainties ahead of him? How can he not worry about his job, his relationships, or the future? The book gently challenges these worries by explaining that the only moment we ever truly have is now. The past is gone, and the future is unknowable. When we spend all our energy either regretting the past or fearing the future, we miss out on the richness of life unfolding in the present. It's like watching a movie but constantly looking away, thinking about what might happen next and missing the best parts. For William, living in the present moment means learning to engage with life as it happens, rather than trying to control or predict it. It means accepting the current moment, whether it's enjoyable or difficult, and being fully involved in it. This lesson also teaches William that acceptance is key. By embracing the present as it is, without judgment or resistance, he allows himself to experience life more freely. If something is challenging, he can accept it without overthinking. If something is joyful, he can embrace it fully without wondering what will happen next. For you, this lesson offers a profound invitation. How much of your life is spent in the past or future rather than in the present? If you're always thinking about what's next or regretting what happened, how can you truly enjoy the life you're living right now? A practical way to live in the present is to start small. Take moments during your day to pause and focus entirely on the present, whether you're eating a meal, talking to a friend, or simply sitting alone. Practice fully engaging with that moment. Pay attention to the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. Allow yourself to feel the present without rushing to the next thing. For William, this is a game changer. As he begins to live more in the present, he notices how much more connected he feels to himself and the world around him. He is no longer burdened by past mistakes or paralyzed by future worries. Instead, he has access to a deep sense of peace and clarity. In summary, William learns that living in the present moment is the key to freedom and happiness. The past is gone, the future is unknown, but the present is where we find our real power, joy, and purpose. By letting go of our obsession with time, we can experience life more fully and with greater peace. This lesson naturally leads William to the next question. Now that I can live in the present, how do I begin to create a life of true meaning and happiness? That will be the focus of the next lesson. Lesson number 5. Happiness comes from helping others. Having learned to be authentic, stop fearing judgment, and live in the present, William now faces a powerful revelation. True happiness doesn't come from pursuing personal gain, it comes from helping others. For most of his life, William has focused on his own success and happiness. He has sought promotions, approval, and recognition, believing that if he could just reach the next milestone, he would finally feel fulfilled. But as he works through the lessons in the courage to be disliked, William begins to realize that the true path to lasting happiness lies not in personal achievement, but in contributing to the well-being of others. This idea challenges everything William has known. He spent so much time thinking that he could only be happy if he succeeded, if his career flourished, or if his personal ambitions were realized. Helping others, he thought, would be a nice thing to do, but not the source of true happiness. Yet, the book reveals a deep truth. When we focus on contributing to the happiness of others, we experience a sense of fulfillment that personal achievements alone can never provide. At first, William struggles with this concept. How could helping others be the key to his own happiness when he has spent so much time working on his own goals? The book makes it clear that happiness doesn't come from accumulating things or titles. It comes from connection and contribution. William begins to see that happiness is not a solitary pursuit. It is deeply intertwined with the relationships we build and the positive impact we have on others. Whether it's through small acts of kindness, offering support to a friend, or working towards a cause greater than oneself, true fulfillment arises when we shift the focus from "what can I get?" to "how can I help?" For William, this realization starts to change his perspective. He begins to look for ways to help those around him, his colleagues, friends, and family, whether it's mentoring a younger colleague, listening to a friend in need, or simply offering a helping hand. He starts to experience a sense of purpose and joy that he never had before. He feels more connected to others, and as a result, more connected to himself. The book explains that helping others doesn't require grand gestures. It can be as simple as a kind word, offering support, or doing something meaningful without expecting anything in return. In fact, the act of giving without expectation creates a deeper sense of satisfaction and belonging. It strengthens our emotional bonds with others, reinforcing our sense of value and purpose. For you, this lesson challenges you to think beyond your own goals and look at the ways you can make a positive difference in the lives of others. How can you show kindness, contribute to a cause, or support the people in your life? This doesn't mean neglecting your own needs or desires, but rather understanding that true happiness is found when we balance self-care with care for others. William learns that the more we focus on helping others, the more we experience genuine happiness. By offering support, kindness, and encouragement, we enrich our own lives in ways that material success never could. In summary, William's journey leads him to the final realization: happiness comes from helping others. When we shift our focus from personal gain to contributing to the well-being of those around us, we create a life filled with deeper meaning and fulfillment. True happiness is not something to be achieved, it is something to be shared. As William sits back and reflects on his journey, he can't help but marvel at how far he has come. Just a few months ago, he was a man trapped in a cycle of fear and frustration, constantly seeking approval, overwhelmed by the demands of others, and stuck in the past or future. But now, through the lessons of the courage to be disliked, he has unlocked a new understanding of life, of happiness, and of his own potential. True happiness, William now understands, doesn't come from chasing external achievements or accumulating accolades. It's not about the title on your business card, the size of your paycheck, or the number of followers you have. It's about finding peace in who you are, in living authentically, and in the quality of the relationships you build. And in this shift, William has found freedom. In the past, he believed that to be successful, he needed to constantly prove himself to others. He had spent years trying to live up to the expectations of his family, friends, and society. Whether it was getting a promotion at work, impressing others with his accomplishments, or staying on top of the latest trends, he was driven by the need for external validation. But now, William realizes that true success is about living in alignment with your own values, rather than seeking approval from the outside world. As he works through the lessons in The Courage to be Disliked, William comes to understand something crucial. The pursuit of others' approval is a trap. It's a never-ending chase for something that can never truly satisfy you. You may gain praise and recognition, but that's temporary. What truly lasts is the peace and fulfillment that comes from being authentic, living in the present moment, and accepting that not everyone will like you. That freedom is priceless. But the journey hasn't been easy. In fact, it's been uncomfortable at times. The decision to live authentically, to stop being afraid of rejection and to stop molding himself to fit the expectations of others, was a difficult one for William. He had to confront the fear of being disliked, the anxiety of standing alone, and the discomfort of stepping outside of his comfort zone. And yet, as he faced these challenges head-on, he began to realize that the only way to live fully is by embracing discomfort. By making the choice to be true to himself, William discovered that he was no longer defined by what others thought of him. He began to speak his truth, set boundaries, and pursue what truly mattered to him. He wasn't afraid to be disliked anymore, and paradoxically, this very courage freed him to form deeper and more genuine connections with the people who respected and valued him for who he truly was. In his authenticity, he found his strength. Perhaps one of the most profound changes William experienced was his newfound ability to live in the present moment. For so much of his life, he had been stuck either regretting the past or worrying about the future. He had missed out on countless moments because he was always looking ahead or looking back. But now, he fully embraces the present. Whether he's spending time with friends, focusing on his work, or simply enjoying a quiet moment alone, William has learned the importance of being present, truly engaged in whatever he's doing at that very moment. This shift has brought him a sense of calm and peace he never thought possible. He no longer feels the need to rush through life. He no longer feels the need to control everything or worry about what's to come. He has learned the importance of letting go of the past and not getting too caught up in future anxieties. Instead, he enjoys the simplicity and beauty of each moment, embracing life as it unfolds. Yet, perhaps the most important lesson of all is this: happiness comes from helping others. Through the process of focusing on his own growth and understanding the importance of living authentically, William now sees that real fulfillment comes not from personal gain, but from contributing to the well-being of others. The more he gives, the more he receives, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Helping others, whether through small acts of kindness or large gestures of support, has brought him a deep sense of purpose and meaning. It's given him a reason to wake up every day with enthusiasm and joy. William now understands that his happiness isn't solely his to keep, it's something to be shared. It's not about achieving more, getting ahead, or winning at life. It's about the connections we make, the people we uplift, and the positive impact we leave behind. When we focus on helping others, we experience a joy that is richer, deeper, and longer lasting than any personal achievement ever could be. As William looks forward, he feels a sense of optimism and excitement. The lessons he's learned have given him the tools to live a fuller, more authentic life. And now, as you reflect on your own journey, I invite you to ask yourself, are you ready to embrace your true self? Are you prepared to step away from the fear of judgment, to live more authentically, and to help those around you in meaningful ways? If you found these lessons helpful, I encourage you to like this video and subscribe to Bookplay so you can continue to explore more transformative insights from the books that can change your life. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and every lesson learned brings you closer to living the life you've always wanted. Thank you for joining us today. We're here to support you as you grow, evolve, and create a life filled with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. Keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, live authentically, because that's where true happiness begins.